Hi everyone, my name is Steve Hassinger. I'm the Dean of Career Services and Development at Central Penn College, and I've been working in career development for almost 28 years now. Over the course of that time, one of the most frustrating things that I've found for job seekers when it comes to the job search process is knowing how to answer behavioral interviewing questions. So we're just going to give you a really brief tutorial today that might provide some assistance as you try to answer those behavioral interviewing questions. First of all, we have to know what is a behavioral interviewing question. Well, let me give you an example. When I started working in career development way back in 1990, if an employer wanted to hire somebody who had good problem-solving skills, they might simply ask them in an interview, do you think you have good problem-solving skills? And if you're the interviewee, what are you going to say if you want the job? Absolutely, I have good problem-solving skills. Now the employer hires you, and a month later they realize this guy doesn't have good problem-solving skills. So employers had to come up with another way to ask that question and get better results. And we know that it's hard to predict human behavior. But the best indicator we have of human behavior is how that person has behaved in the past. So past behavior is the best indicator of future behavior. So now the employer will say, tell me about a time or give me an example when you had to use some effective problem-solving skills to get something done. So let's talk about, first of all, what kind of experiences might you draw upon? Well, ideally, you want to go to your work experience and you want to talk about the jobs that you've had in the past and how you have used those problem-solving skills in one of your previous jobs. However, some of our college students might not have a lot of work experience. So they could also think about school experiences, think about a class project maybe where they had to use those problem-solving skills, or think about things that have happened outside the classroom, extracurricular activities, sports, clubs that they've been involved with. You could even go to volunteer work that you've done and talk about how you've used those problem-solving skills. So how are we going to frame our answer if somebody asks us about our problem-solving skills and wants us to give an example? Lots of times people will say to me, well, I don't know how much information to provide. How much is too much? How much is too little? What exactly does the employer want? So here's the tip we're going to give you today. We're going to have you think about something called the STAR approach, S-T-A-R, to answering those behavioral interviewing questions. STAR is obviously an acronym. And in this case, the S and the T are closely related. So the S stands for situation, the T stands for task. So depending on the example that you want to give, you're going to either explain the situation that was happening at the time or the particular task that you were doing. And you want to be very descriptive here. As an interviewer, I should have a picture of exactly what was happening there. So you want to be so descriptive that you're really painting a picture for me, and in my mind, it's almost like I'm actually there and seeing what's taken place. Okay? So give me a good description of the situation or the task. After you've done that, you've got to move into the A. The A is the action. What did you do? What was your role? How did you use those problem-solving skills in that particular situation or that task? Again, be very descriptive. Paint a picture for me. I should really know exactly what you were doing and what was happening in this situation so that I can see how you were handling it effectively. And then some people will forget about the R. They'll do a good job of describing the situation or the task. They'll tell me what they did about it. Then they kind of leave me hanging. But the R is the result. What was the outcome? Now, it's important that you pick examples that have positive outcomes. Okay? You might have used some really effective problem-solving skills, but you weren't able to resolve that situation anyways. It was out of your control. So think about situations or tasks where the problem-solving skills that you were able to utilize ended up in a positive result for the company, for the team, for the class, wherever your situation may have been. And tell me about that result. I really want to know that you had a good positive outcome. Other examples of behavioral interviewing questions might be, tell me about a time you had to use some effective teamwork skills to get something done. Maybe you worked in the restaurant business or in the hospitality business in another capacity. And I might ask you, tell me about a time that you had a difficult customer you had to work with. Again, probably you use problem-solving skills in that situation. But I want to know that you were able to handle the situation calmly, that you didn't get flustered, and I want to know exactly what the situation or task was, what the action was that you took, and what the result was. So regardless of the type of behavioral interviewing question that is posed to you in the interview, I want you to think about the STAR approach when it comes to answering that question. Tell me about the situation or task, tell me about the action, tell me about the result. And if you can effectively use this approach as you answer those questions, I think it'll take away some of the anxiety for you when you're answering the questions, and it'll make you a star at the interview. Best wishes for success in all your interviews.